started shooting up.
That's the sound of
being
Mountain
prepped
Dew,
and ready.
Mountain Dew Livewire.
Oh, that's what you have?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's a shame that.
It's orange.
What?
It's orange. It's an orange soda.
Oh, well, that's gross.
Well. All right.
It's like, I'm going to kiss my ass. Wait, don't look.
Well, okay. Are we going to do some type of intro?
Hi, everyone. I'm Emily.
And I'm Vince.
And, as you may guess, this is the Lighthouse Lowdown. It's just going to be Africa forever. Unless you want to learn the tone that is our podcast intro.
I will, but it won't be intentional. It'll just be...
But it won't be pretty. Oh.
I'll do it with spite.
Need a sip of my Diet DP.
So...
As my sister would say.
DDP. I am not the host today. I am the co-host, which I guess is always true. But I'm just...
It's 75% false.
What do we call it when I'm not hosting or when you're not hosting? Like, what are you the host today? This is your episode.
Yeah.
Emily's episode today. I'm talking right now.
It's more of like a special occasion whenever you do the opener, and since I write the the descriptions of the episode, I should be sure to mention that it's you. It's a special occasion. Okay. So it's not really that you're... No, I say you're hosting, yeah. So I'm the host for this episode.
And I'm the co-host, or the secondary, tertiary...
The commentator.
Junior host. Other host. But
miscellaneous.
It's Thursday. It's after work, so we got some sodies in us.
Yeah. As
the Midwesterners sometimes say.
I've actually never heard that except for you.
Sody? Oh, it's like I think I got it from some, like, My 600-Pound Life or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
There's these two girls.
Yeah, it's 1,000-pound sisters.
Oof. Yeah, but there's one clip that because I've never seen the show.
Yeah.
One clip that was like, our mama told us growing up that you eat a sugar and then you drink a diet soda and they cancel each other out. And they're telling this to a doctor, and he's like, that is inaccurate.
That is absolutely false.
And maybe it's she. I can't remember. But the doctor is like, that's not science. I don't know who told you that, but you're 1,000 pounds. So.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I wouldn't trust it.
It's not working so far. But yeah, I just want to say it's Thursday after work. Got our sodies. It's snowing outside.
Yeah. Finally have some snow.
We have a sponsor for today's podcast we can talk about later, but there's a lot of special things happening. So I'm excited for this one.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to jump in. I'm going to start with the history buoy, which, as promised in our last episode, is on foghorns.
Foghorns.
For those that don't know, foghorns or fog signals are a sound warning to alert other people to danger. I would say like marine, voyagers, sailors, etc. Yeah. But it's also true for railways, trains and stuff.
Really?
Those are technically foghorns. They are used foghorns. It's not like a train horn is a foghorn, but it uses the same.
Okay, steam whistle.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard on a train, but I get it's steam. Well, a lot of foghorns. Okay.
Well, it's a good way to get into it. Historically, fog signals were whistles or gongs that people would strike or blow later on with compressed air. Small cannons were sometimes fired as the warning, but of course cannons were not. Cannons had to be manually filled and fired by the keeper each time it needed to go off, which was sometimes as short as like 5 minutes. So he'd just be standing there forever.
Yeah.
So obviously
firing a cannon over and over.
It was efficient, so they used it for a really long time. Clockwork systems began being used to strike bells, and this included, a fun fact that I found, a giant triangle, like a musical triangle in Maine that had 4-foot sides.
What?
Mm-hmm. This was in 1837, so I couldn't find a picture. But
is there a record of like who made this?
I should look it up, see if I can find like the patent for the giant triangle.
The commissioning.
I don't know.
You sent over some drawings here. I just wanted to check on the scale.
I just want to make sure this says 4 feet and not 4 inches?
300 pounds of steel. I don't know. You'd have to hit it with a hawk.
There had to be a mallet to go with it that was also just as large.
Oh, yeah. Full swing.
Good stuff. The first automated steam-powered foghorn was invented by Robert Fowlis, which his name almost didn't go down in history, and I'll tell you why. He says that he heard his daughter playing piano from a distance while he was working in fog, and noticed that the low tones were more audible than the high tones. Aside from cannon fire, most of the time they've been, whistles and giant triangles give off high frequency sounds. Yeah. And so he's like, oh, what a revolutionary idea that we need to be aiming for the low frequency sounds rather than the high frequency. So he designed a low frequency sound device and was initially rejected by the commissioners of lighthouses, which is basically the lighthouse board for Canada.
Yeah.
He wanted it to be built on Partridge Island, which I'm assuming was nearby where he lived or something.
Like as a test site or? Just
to see how it worked and, if it benefited the keepers at all. But he was rejected. It doesn't really say why. I think what they were saying is his proposal was not detailed enough. So they were like, go back, add some more detail, really lay it out. And then you come back. So then the more detailed plans that he made were stolen by another Canadian engineer who passed it off as his own work and was accepted.
Shiesty engineers.
Yeah, I didn't put it out his name because I don't think he deserves it.
Oh, you don't even want to soil the family name. Is it a name? Wait, is it a name that we would know? Like, is it like
no
Bose?
No.
Sennheiser, Bang & Olufsen.
That would be funny. It was the beginning of Apple. Fowlis eventually got the credit, but he never profited or patented his design. So at least we know that he was the one responsible for coming up with this idea. But he never gained any money from having his design out there.
That's really interesting. So he's literally listening to his daughter play a piano, and he's at some distance away. And it's like the Einstein Apple moment. He's like, I don't know if that's actually true. Maybe it is. I don't know. I didn't learn in school. But like he's sitting under a tree, essentially. And he hears, the lower keys, I can hear them more clearly. This must be what everyone else hears. This must apply to the rules of physics. Like low frequencies across distance on air carry better with more intensity.
People are smart.
Yeah, it's interesting. But that's the same reason, like, we're driving in kind of a different part of Kansas City, Missouri, and you hear like, like you hear the rolling bass coming from the 1991 Lexus coupe right next to us.
Yeah.
But you don't hear the, high piano notes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt bad for him. But Fowlis, everyone, remember.
And how, Fowlis? Is that the name?
Foulis.
Yeah. I haven't been shown anything yet on the great big screen.
Yeah, I'm not going to show you my notes. Are you crazy? Back on to our foghorn. So a couple of types. It was hard to find it. Like I couldn't find a list of foghorn types. I think mainly because the kind that's used nowadays is pretty much universal. It's not like, oh, you can have this, or this, and here's the reasons you would use each type. It's just kind of like, this is the one we've got that really works.
Has gotten to that.
Yeah. Really, I found 2 types. One is a siren, which is, what you hear for tornadoes or winds, hurricanes, that kind of thing. That's compressed air forced through holes in a rotating cylinder. And then the other type, which is what most lighthouses use today, or for marine purposes, is the diaphone, which is what you asked about in the last episode. So the diaphone was originally invented for the organ, for sending compressed air specifically to each note on an organ. It's compressed air forced through slots under a pistol, and I have a GIF.
I wonder what the origin of pistol means. Is it a shape or a...
Did they say pistol?
Yeah.
Piston.
Piston. Oh, okay.
I think I typed it wrong.
Well, you got me.
Here's a little animation. So basically it's surrounded by compressed air all the time, this like piston. And as the compressed air builds, it pushes down on this piston, which then opens up these holes for air to escape out of. And up here is where you're hearing the noise, is the sound of this compressed air shooting out of the piston.
Yeah.
And then as this air pressure goes down and also air sneaks underneath the piston, it pushes it back up and unaligns these holes.
Yeah.
And so then it's like the short bursts you hear, or whatever kind of physics they have going on in here that keeps it in sound bursts instead of it just being prolonged noise or unpredictable. But yeah, that's what the diaphone looks
really
like.
Cool design, and I really appreciate this cutaway.
Yeah, so someone made it on Google. It's actually an animated, it's like they took the patent design and then animated it into so this is actually the drawing that was in the patent, and then they made it into an animation.
Well, and the pressure, it's just the pressure changes, which is cool.
Yeah.
But it reminds me, it's a very similar in concept, at least, to like a natural gas regulator. I don't know who listening cares, but I'll say, as this piston moves downward and that channel opens up behind the piston to reset it, it's essentially you're playing with the pressure. So that's what makes it to move, which is really interesting. Move rapidly, I would assume, for the bursts of air. That's cool. And so this piston design was for organ instruments, like in a church.
Yeah.
So the pressure would rise, and then that would cause the one, I don't even know what to call them, like a chime in a church, like an organ.
Yeah, I'm sure it was a little different before it was released for this purpose, but originally the guy that designed it, that's what he was designing it for, was for use in an organ. I'm not sure if they actually used it there or not.
Oh, I see. But then diaphone.
Yeah. I don't know if I can post a GIF on Instagram in our group of photos that we posted. So maybe I'll post it as like a story you can reference back to look at how it works. Because I did have to do a little bit of digging to find this. So anyway, I'll get it to you guys somehow. There's a couple other rarely used types, but the diaphone is, like I said, most widely used. Another cool thing I saw is that, in the modern day age, foghorns are activated by a laser that is shooting out to the sea. And if it's ever reflected back, as it would be if there was fog.
Something interrupts the beam.
Yeah, or just the air is full of water, so it reflects it back to the laser origin.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about it, so in my best terms, if the laser is ever reflected back, which means there's fog, then the foghorn is activated. So there doesn't need to be someone there saying, "Oh, there's fog, turn it on."
Manually turn it on.
Yeah, it's like always keeping track so it can turn itself on.
That's really interesting. And I'm guessing it's like an infrared laser because it would work day and night. It's not an optical laser that's going to blind somebody, and that relies on, obviously daytime light.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
That's all I got on foghorns.
Very nice history buoy.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to the lighthouse.
Which lighthouse?
So this one's fun because for two reasons for you. One is that it's just funky and goofy, and I think you'll appreciate that.
Funky lighthouse.
Yeah, and also you're taking a trip to Alaska soon, and you're going to end up in the town that has this. So you will probably be able to go.
Is it near Anchorage?
It's
Seward?
Homer.
Homer? Oh, we are going to Homer.
So you should definitely give this place a visit because it is hilarious and a lot of history. So I'm going to put up a picture. Here we go.
I feel like I looked up lighthouses in Alaska recently, and I might have seen like an Outlook. Maybe it was in Homer. I don't recall. Seward, I want to say.
I want to pull this
up.
up.
No, Homer has to. So we've been to Homer.
Yeah.
Homer is where we stayed on the Spit at Land's End Resort, which was really cool. The very end of the Spit.
I am talking about this subject today.
I'm so excited. Let's go. Also, gorgeous views.
Here it is.
Sorry.
The Salty Dawg Saloon.
Okay. Before you say anything else, I didn't see the lighthouse, but when we arrived in Homer, we're on motorcycles, we're all dirty, we got to go eat somewhere. I saw the Salty Dawg Saloon on
Maps?
Google Maps on like one of the top 5 options, and I can't tell you anything else. That's all I know. But I was like, that's a cool name, and that was 2 years ago, and I remember that name. So tell us about it, please.
So, it has the appearance of a lighthouse, but it's not what you think. It's for people listening, it is a gray log cabin, and it actually has a 2-part building that's like just connected in between. They used to be separate. And then it also has a lighthouse connected to the back, or I guess a light tower.
It's like hexagon shape.
Yeah, it could be octagon, but I'm going to lean towards hexagon. It's got shingles all along the sides, which is unique few windows. I'll go more into the structure of the lighthouse. It's covered in decorative, it's got seashells and buoys and fish nets. There's like a crab.
There's a lot going on.
Trap there.
There's a lantern coming out of the roof.
Yeah, very nautical, very fun, very funky. Pretty cool when you see it. It's like you can't tell if it's going to be a dump or if it's going to be awesome. But yeah, so as you can guess by the name, the Salty Dawg Saloon, it's actually a bar/pub.
Dive bar.
But its history goes a lot deeper than this just being a bar. So let's go in. It is estimated to be built, this main building that has the sign and the front door and everything, is estimated to be built in 1897. This is kind of an estimation because they don't know for certain when it was built, but during a cleaning in 1970s, they found newspaper insulation in the walls from the late 1800s. So
that is cool.
Yeah, so they're estimating that's probably when it was built. It started out as one of the first cabins built in Homer just after Homer became a town site. And this makes the Salty Dawg the oldest surviving structure in Homer city limits. Wow. And also the last original structure of the town.
Wow. Late 1800s?
Mm-hmm.
Also, newspaper insulation is pretty hardcore. In Alaska, you're like, you know what? It's going to be cold.
You know what?
Let's put some newspaper in there.
Yeah, I know. I wonder if it was just, it was like, I can't remember if it was built originally to be a tool shed. As you can guess, since we don't know the exact date, it's kind of just like it was a structure that was built and nobody knows what it originally was used for. But it has a ton of history, changed hands a ton, has all this, had many different purposes in its lifetime. So
cool.
It was built at the very, very, very end of the spit where lots of coal and oil activity was happening, especially because of how accessible it was over there. And for those that don't know what the spit is, I'm going to open an Alaskan map to Homer. And the Homer spit is just like it's 4.5 mile jut of land out into the Kachemak Bay. I looked up, there's a couple different ways they say to pronounce it, but I think it's Kachemak. Homer spit.
Yeah, I think there's a Kachemak National Park, Kachemak area up there with a bunch of bears. Pretty sure.
Here we
Homer
go.
spit.
Homer spit. Nothing particularly special.
No, it's awesome.
Here's Land's End Resort. I'll talk about that. Kachemak Bay. Here's Homer over here. So it's just this long jut. You can see that they have ferry routes over here. Connections, especially. Maybe cruises would go to Land's End Resort. I don't know. Is it that nice?
No, sorry. I mean, it's I don't think they have ships that large coming into the Kachemak Bay.
Yeah.
And Land's End Resort is, I don't know. I don't mean to be insulting. It was awesome. We really enjoyed our time there.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't call it a resort in typical fashion.
Okay.
It's not like we were talking about in Nassau, Bahamas.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. There we go. Salty Dawg.
Salty Dawg. Man.
So originally it was actually further down over here. And moved during its lifetime, which I'll talk about as well.
Oh, would you entertain me and go up to the left on the spit a little bit, looking at restaurants? I just want to see if I can recognize where we went.
You pass an RV park on the way?
I don't think we went that far. I think it's still up on the... I want to say it was a woman's name. I don't know. I'll have to look it up. Maybe
cool beans.
Maybe I'll comment. There was a couple in a row.
Coffee stand.
And I want to say it was a woman's name, and it was really good. Very good seafood.
That's fun.
Yeah. Clam chowder. Off the hook. Some of the places out here are a little touristy, and there's nothing wrong with that, but some of them you can tell have been there a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So, Salty Dawg, DAWG, just so everyone knows.
Maybe you were around here. Oh,
there
Captain Patty's?
Captain Patty's.
Oh, temporarily closed. Oh, it's because it's
probably
winter.
Seasonal, but yeah. Also, that's something else. I'm sure you can talk about it, but that's awesome that a building's been out there so long. When I was I rode a motorcycle out there on Homer Spit. I was just thinking, man, everything out here has got to be gone in some enormous storm because it is not a lot of land. It's the road, which is a 2-lane, and then maybe 30 to 50 feet of land on either side. Mm-hmm. Maybe 100, I guess. But it felt small. You felt like you're on the water. It was really neat.
I have something to talk about with that as well.
Sorry, I'm excited. This is a good one.
Yeah, I was hoping you would have heard of this, which is hilarious that you actually stayed
Salty Dawg
in a place that actually has history with this place. Obviously, they are so close together. So for the first 20 years of its life, it was served as the first post office in Homer, a general store, a railroad station, and a coal mining office.
Oh my God.
So it had a lot of different purposes. And if you look at this picture, it's just this is all that there was.
That's the original structure.
It wasn't, yeah, there wasn't a lot going on. It was
like
just a room you
12
go into.
by 12 room.
Yeah, which is
Single
probably true
story.
for a lot of general stores in early 1900s.
That'd be so cool.
At one point, it housed 3 adults and 11 children. There was like some kind of renting happening, and they partitioned it with just like a tarp in the middle.
Yeah.
And like heated one side, and then the other side was maybe still the post office or something. But I didn't have a lot of history that I could read up along on that. In the late 1940s, it was bought out by Chuck Abbott, who used it as an office for the Standard Oil Company right next to an oil tank farm. So right at the end of the spit. So actually it was used as an office, and then he's the one that opened the Salty Dawg Saloon. It was just kind of like this fun, like they never planned on making any money out of it.
Yeah.
It was just kind of a fun thing that they were just like, we should just open a bar.
I
Because
like that.
only crazy, they said in the book, like only crazy people would open a bar at the end of the spit.
I can't tell you how many conversations dudes have where they're like, let's start a bar.
Yeah.
We could do this, man. You brew beer. We could make this happen.
Yeah. Yeah, but it said that he just wanted to, quote, make a buck and increase the value of his company, hopefully, by making it more visitable down there, you know? Like,
Yeah, get some folks out there.
yeah, just get some life going at the end of the spit.
That's so cool.
So he opened it in 1957. He chose a pirate theme as homage to the, quote, original Salty Dogs. His wife talked about how she, like, tried to talk him out of it doing a pirate theme. She's like, we're in Alaska. Why would we do a pirate theme?
Wait, 1957?
1957, yeah. And he just really wanted it. He just so badly. Because he'd go along Kachemak Bay, and a lot of the decorations that were inside the saloon were things that he found, which included old ship bells, portholes, red and green lights, like all kinds of
Cool.
fun nautical stuff.
Yeah.
So I think he was kind of just like, I'll just dump all of this stuff in there and it'll be the Salty Dawg. Yeah, Phyllis, which was his wife, said, quote, we never made a cent out of it until we sold it, but it was a fun time while we had it.
I don't know why. I love that the sign is on the roof.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, that's unique.
Yeah, instead of like hanging where the lantern is or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very unique looking, and those dollar bills play a role as well.
So, okay. So, yeah. When did they sell? 57's when Standard Oil Man and Phyllis owned it. They bought it, and they sold it when?
They bought it in the 40s as an office, but then they converted
right.
it. Yeah, opened it as the Salty Dawg Saloon in 1957. They actually sold it in 1960, I want to say.
Okay.
And I'll talk about that. But first, I have the weirdest story that ever happened to the dog, and actually was so like just outlandish and gross and weird that it showed up in newspapers as far away as New York after it happened. So Chuck installed an outhouse behind the bar because what else are you going to do? People visit your bar. You have to have a place for them to go to the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
And just a note that both like the day before this happened, 2 men came by the saloon asking for work, and Chuck turned them away because they didn't have anything for them to do.
Yeah.
And then literally the next day, there's a backup on the men's side of the outhouse, and it was just split up by like a partition. It wasn't 2 separate buildings. It was like, once again, a tarp in the middle, and a men's and a woman's side. And there was a backup on the men's side, and for some reason, he enlisted the help of Bruno Agostino, I think it is. I'm sorry
name.
if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but he was a demolitions expert at the nearby coal mines. And he's like, hey, can you help me unclog this?
Bet you could do something.
Like, what? A demolitions expert? So here, I'm going to read it out of this book. There's an excerpt where it talks about what happens. It's pretty short, but it's from The Dog's Tale, the story of Salty Dawg Saloon, the Homer Spit, and the town of Homer, Alaska. by Diane Ford Wood, which is an awesome name. Go to page 125. I can tell you exactly what happened. So Harold Billups, who I think was a local that was there around this time, he wrote a book called In Those Days. And he said, quote, "If one stick would be good, 2 sticks would be better," referring to dynamite. So Chuck touched it off. It didn't just blow down as Bruno had said it would. It blew that stench and effluvium around like you couldn't believe. Some of it blew on Chuck's oil tanks and on the Salty Dog, and in fact, it pretty well covered the entire end of the spit.
Oh.
And that is referring to poop.
2 sticks of dynamite.
Mm-hmm. And the book also says that by some accounts from people, the raw sewage hit the sides of buildings, the laundry, the Land's End Resort, and a warehouse, and a good portion of the end of the spit.
Oh.
I know.
Oh.
It's like, Chuck, what are you thinking?
What year is this?
This is 1959, I think. Or maybe 58. It was just a couple years before they sold it. And the guy that they bought, that bought it from them was Earl Hillstrand, who was the one that developed Land's End Resort.
Wait.
Sorry we covered your construction site and shit.
The outhouse would have to be gone, right?
It says that Phyllis went and put a sign on the outhouse that said "out of order," and I'm like, did it just not have a top on it or something?
Forgive my language, but it blew the shit sky high. There was shit all over the spit.
That's what I was like. It said she put a sign on it, and I was like, a sign on what? Like, you're telling me something survived?
What? Well, what's left to hang a sign on?
Ew.
Also,
so bad.
You're walking up to it like, you really gotta go.
Yeah.
Oh, the sign says not to. Not all the evidence around here.
Yeah. Well, it looks like I can poop anywhere, actually.
People complain about porta potties on construction sites and football games.
So bad.
Oh.
Yeah, just the most wild story. Like, Bruno's like, yeah, just put some dynamite in there, set it on, and it'll just blow down. What path of least resistance? It's gonna go on.
I'm guessing. I have no idea. I'm guessing this is a latrine.
It's probably not like
it's
piping.
A ditch.
It's probably like a steel cylinder something.
Some in-ground. And they're like, let's make more room. Like, with dynamite. It's not like, a pipe is clogged.
Yeah.
Pour some Drano in it. It's like.
It's like we're out of room.
Salty Dog style. And the fecal influence got all the way to the Land's End Resort.
Mm-hmm.
Can we scale that real quick on Google Maps?
Yeah. Although
it's moved.
It did move, so we can't really know for sure. But I'm assuming it must have been pretty close for the Land's End Resort guy to actually purchase it for his own use.
4th of July. That's awesome. I just
Also,
want to go back.
It's funny, Chuck went in search of the 2 guys that came by asking for work after this and was like, hey, I have a job for you.
Still need a job?
They actually did it, and Phyllis said that she participated in the cleanup. Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
Oh, so gross. I can't believe it.
Business is booming.
Literally. Back end business.
That is awesome.
So, anyway, I just thought that was probably one of
the... Did you go a 1 stick or did you go a 2 stick when you went to the bathroom? Number 1 or number 2? That
was the most interesting story that I read. There's a lot of stories in this book. If anyone wants to read more about the Salty Dawg Saloon, it's called The Dog's Tale. They don't have it. It's from 1997, I think she wrote it.
Nice.
1995.
Good year.
So it's not available for you to read on ebooks or anything like that. Yeah. It's only paperback. So.
Yeah, they're like, if the walls of this bar could talk, well, these can in the Salty Dog. What is it? The Dog's Cafe.
Dog's Tale.
Dog's Tale. Oh man, I can't read upside down.
It's kind of swoopy.
It's swoopy for my own credit. But yeah, if these walls could talk, they'd complain. Wow. That's awesome.
Alaska became the 49th state of the Union in 1959. And so that's about a year after this happened. And a year later, Earl Hillstrand, who was actually a member of the Alaskan House of Representatives at the time and was also developing the Land's End Resort.
Yeah.
He purchased it, and it was like apparently a big stink that he was an Anchorage resident and was buying the bar
Oh, he's one of them city folk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had business ventures.
Money talks. Yeah.
Especially because Phyllis said they didn't make any money on this until they sold it. So it was probably a good chunk, a good hefty sum.
Yeah. Well, I'm interested to learn more about that perspective because I've been on many roads in Alaska. The furthest north we went was to the Arctic Circle sign on the Denali Highway. It's really, or Dalton Highway, sorry. It's interesting. But people, like I listened to a different podcast. It's about hunters that had gone to Alaska for some hunting expedition. Mm-hmm. And they were saying, oh yeah, where have you been? Oh, you've been to Anchorage and Fairbanks. So you haven't been to Alaska. Yeah. Like those are the cities. Mm-hmm. Like I think there's maybe, I'm going to misquote, but like 1 million people in Anchorage.
Yeah.
And it's a city. It's a very small city, but it's not Alaska. To get to Alaska, you have to fly in a bush plane. You know, there's no roads that lead to Alaska.
Oh my gosh.
That's what people say. So,
well, it's kind of cool.
It's gorgeous. But that's a really interesting story. Salty Dawg.
Yeah. So Earl bought it.
Yeah.
Hillstrand, and he ran it for about 4 years, and then March 27th, 1964 was the Good Friday earthquake. Do you remember? Or have you heard anything about that?
No, I don't know anything about all these earthquakes.
Apparently, I know it's another earthquake.
I don't mean to be insensitive.
I can't help it.
That's what I said last time.
Earthquake right now?
Right now?
That just happened in Turkey or something?
No.
And the death toll is like 40,000 people.
No way.
Right now? Yeah. Isn't that insane?
That's not good.
I don't know the details of it. I might not even have the place correct.
Yeah. Do not get your news from the Lighthouse Lowdown.
Yeah, we don't really know what we're talking about. Unless it's about lighthouses. And then we do. And then you can trust us. So the Good Friday earthquake, the reason why I ask is because a lot of people that live like locals, they refer to it as a timestamp. That's like, oh yeah, before the earthquake, you know,
pre-COVID,
yada yada. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Before
that kind
the
of deal. Mm-hmm. So it was a 9.2 on a scale of 10.
Richter.
9.2.
That's wild.
Magnitude earthquake, and I think the fatalities were only like 150 people because nobody really lived there. At this time.
Well, and structures aren't very tall.
But the earthquake originated from the Aleutian Trench, which is that weird, it's characterized by that tail of islands that connects Alaska to Russia.
Yeah. Well, is it the Scott Islands? Those are the ones Triangle Island was on. No, that's further south.
Okay.
I think.
It's the Aleutian Trench is the fault line that caused the earthquake. Right. And those islands, I think they're called the Aleutian Islands, are projecting upward from this fault line.
Right. That's where that show, we watched an episode of a show, or a couple episodes, where they're looking for treasure.
Mm-hmm. Salty earthquake.
Salty earthquake.
Here is...
oh my gosh.
Showing...
Colorful.
Like, this is Australia. Like, it's not like, oh, we're zoomed into Alaska. Here's the trench. And this star is, I think it is 75 miles. Let me see.
I did not realize what we were looking at.
Mm-hmm. I know. I think
that is crazy.
The epicenter was 75 miles away from Anchorage. And since there's the most people there, the most buildings, it took the most damage from this earthquake. But still, relatively low casualties from such an enormous earthquake that was felt all the way in Antarctica. Like, it said that it detected this earthquake in equipment that was in Antarctica.
Well, it looks like from the radius there, it looks like Seattle would feel a 5.0,
mm-hmm.
which is not close. Canada is in between those two.
Yeah.
Canada is not small. Wow.
The earthquake released, they estimated 500 years of built-up tension. 600 miles of the fault line moved all at once. So it displaced, there was like areas that were displaced up or down 60 feet. So some areas like Kodiak were raised permanently by 30 feet.
Awesome. Kodiak Island is awesome.
And the Seward Highway had to be reconstructed after the areas southeast of Anchorage dropped 8 feet permanently.
Only road that goes out to Homer.
Really?
There's one, yeah.
Wow. Must
Seward
have been a rough
Highway.
time. But tsunamis from the earthquake affected Alaska, of course, and then Hawaii, Japan, Oregon, California, Peru, Antarctica, and many other countries. The largest tsunami recorded was 220 feet tall in Shute Bay, Alaska. I'm just surprised that only 150 people died. Like, this is...
There's no one there.
220 feet tall?
Especially in those times. Alaska,
was
became somewhere to go and
after the
adventure
gold
in
rush.
the 70s and 80s, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That's when it was oh, you can go there. You can go see Kodiak Island, see the Kodiak bears. There's one bear per square mile. That type of tourism became possible, I think, late in the 1900s.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, just for reference, this is the strongest earthquake to ever happen in North America and the second strongest in the entire world, in the history of the entire world.
It's a great, it's hard to say this is great, but it's great for that.
Yeah.
Rather than today in, a high populated area anywhere. That's just awful.
Yeah. The poor spit. So close.
It was 8.0, is that right?
9.2.
9.2? I can't believe it. Where was the greatest?
In the world?
Yeah.
I don't know.
This is the second greatest?
This was the second greatest
Most
in the
intense.
world. Valdivia earthquake, 1960.
Was it also up there?
Great Chilean earthquake. It's 1960, 9.4 to 9.6 on the magnitude. The Salty Dawg didn't actually sustain a lot of damage, but its location on the spit was not good for the fact that the spit lowered by 11 feet after that happened. Yeah. So the tide, which was about 18 feet or something when it came in, meant that the only thing that wasn't touched by water was the road for a long time.
That is incredible.
Mm-hmm. So this was actually when they moved the cabin from the very end of the spit just inland, just a little bit, just so that it was it sunk 8 feet and not 11 feet.
Yeah.
That's why and where they moved it.
Yeah. You mentioned the Standard Oil tank battery. A set of tanks.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, well, it's a lot of oil. I was like, I don't know if there's room for that.
Yeah.
That makes sense. What a cool place in the world.
I know. Kind of scary, but it's all right. We can just go back to the nice picture of the Salty Dawg
Nature,
Saloon.
you scary. So
nature is metal.
I keep interrupting you.
No.
What else can you tell us about the Salty Dawg Saloon?
Well, so actually, right after this earthquake happened, they added the Lighthouse Tower.
That's what I was wanting to know.
Mm-hmm. And it was originally a facade to hide a water tank, which is what supplied the saloon with fresh water.
That's funny.
Actually, this water tower was 5,000 gallons, and it shipped to them in pieces.
Pretty big.
Yeah, and they had to put it together themselves. I'll talk about it in a second. Just a breakdown of the rooms, because we have the main cabin, we have another structure that was connected after a little while.
The one back behind in the photo. Yep.
And then the water tower, and then another tiny thing that I'll talk about. So we talked about the main room already, which was in 1897. And in 1909, a barn was constructed on the Woodard Homestead. I don't know if you know what that is. I didn't look it up.
I haven't heard that.
I'm assuming it's just land not on the spit nearby or something. Later, this structure that was built as a barn would be trucked to the spit as the second structure for the Salty Dawg. So it was built in 1909, but it wasn't moved over until maybe the 70s.
Okay, so it had lots of years on it before it was reconstructed at the Salty Dawg.
And this one, before its life with the Salty Dawg, was originally used as a school, a grocery store, and a post office. Before now, it has a jukebox and a piano and lots of benches for people to sit on.
Cool.
Yeah. The other thing is they have another little building. It's a teeny tiny little log shanty is how it was described behind the Salty Dawgs that's shown in its early day photographs. I think it's still there as a storage area, but I didn't have a picture. Hang on 1 second. I might be able to pull it up.
I guess I'll share here. It just came to my mind. I have an opportunity maybe to go back here. It's a little unsure if we're going to go to Homer this time.
Oh, no.
We're not staying in Homer. We're going on a different route to see more things in Alaska. But something I like to do when I travel is collect pairs of glasses, drinking glasses. And I have, 20 sets from different places I've been able to go over the years, building up a collection. So I see if I can get some Salty Dawg glasses. That'd be really cool.
They have cool ones. I'm going to show the merchandise at the end of this, and I'll give you a little taste of what they have.
Shout out.
But yeah, so this is the picture that's from the book. I just took it with my phone and then brightened it so you could see it better.
Oh, looks good.
It's horrendous, but this is as good as it can get. So this is the Salty Dawg Saloon. I'll talk about this one in a second.
Okay.
And this is the little building. It's just like this tiny little, what would be a little storage shed today. But in this picture, you see it's called the Salty Pup Cafe.
Awesome.
Nobody has any history on this tiny building. But Phyllis wrote about it, and she said that it's speculated that it used to be a tiny restaurant. And it's called the Salty Pup Cafe.
Yeah.
But there's no history of that happening. And the only thing that they have is that a couple of local old timers say that they remember getting bowls of chili, quote, at a little place at the end of the spit towards the end of the 50s, but they can't recall what the name is. And so it's just kind of like...
That's very likely it.
Yeah, but there's no proof that they actually used to...
Ugh.
I know. It's like,
the Salty Pup Cafe.
I know.
Is awesome name. Also, Salty Dawg Saloon on the left with the sign on the roof.
But yeah, the dog in its original location.
Shocking.
So before it got moved.
So cool.
Yeah, so prior to 1927, it was used as a post office in Beluga Slough. I don't know. It's a place. But now it's just a storeroom that's used for the dog. But it's kind of a fun history that it maybe possibly used to be a tiny restaurant that served chili.
That's all we got.
Yeah.
Take it or leave it.
Also, the logs for this building have evidence of shipworm damage, which hints that at some point the wood or the structure had been underwater for a really long time.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it was made of a ship.
Well, that could be one of the explanations for the logs having shipworm damage.
What are What are shipworms?
Images.
Whoa.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Holy cow.
Like, kind of like termites. Ocean termites, I'd guess.
Yeah. Wreaking havoc for centuries. Wait, scientists still can't figure out how this worm turns. We don't need to go too deep.
Figure out how it turns.
We don't need to go too deep into that right now.
Come on, Jenkins, get some data.
That's what I took away from it, is that it's either that it used to be underwater, which seems unlikely, or that the logs that were used to build the Salty Pup Cafe used to belong to a ship.
Both are interesting.
Mm-hmm. So here's this other structure. Let's talk about this bad boy right here. You can't really see, but there's someone standing in the window.
Creepy.
And it was called the Rum Locker. It no longer exists, but you can see it in this picture. It was yet another part of the Dog in its early days before it was moved. It was possibly the first liquor store to exist on the Spit. Cool. And Phyllis said the bar manager ran such great deals on liquor that it helped attract customers to the Spit itself. It burned down in the 60s, so it no longer is a thing.
Burned down in a rum fire?
Possibly. A liquor-fueled fire. When the earthquake happened, it was moved, but it didn't follow the Salty Dawg. It was kind of like separated and was just a place where the owners stored liquor.
The Rum Locker.
The Rum Locker.
Yeah, but you could buy liquor
like
there.
Bottles, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense.
Sadly, we don't have it anymore, but it did exist. We have a picture of it.
It's also a good name for a bar.
Yeah, the Rum Locker.
The Rum Locker.
We can make that pirate themed.
Yeah. Also rum. Kind of interesting they chose that of all the spirits they could have chosen.
Yeah, well, we're going for a pirate theme. And as we mentioned before, pirates don't drink champagne. Anyway, the last building we're talking about is the Light Tower. I couldn't find any pictures of the inside except for the bottom layer, which we can look up. But the Light Tower was actually officially marked on marine charts, which means that it's a true nautical landmark.
It's a point of reference.
Yeah, so it's not a lighthouse. It's not technically a lighthouse, but it is marked on marine charts, and people that pass by this area a lot use it as a point of reference. So, kind of cool. And the only reason that it can't be labeled, I think the way that it's labeled is whatever the acronym is for tower with a light or building with a light or something like that. And it's because the light is turned off when the bar closes, which varies per season, but
that is cool.
Yeah, it's like you can't really rely on it at nighttime because the bar's not always open. But if you see the light on, that means the bar is open.
That is really cool.
Pretty cool that they put in a lighthouse.
Yeah, that's not
to the saloon.
That's not a small deal.
I know, it's 5 stories tall. Well, I'll talk about it. It has 5 floors.
Okay.
The first is a pool room where you can play pool. It's for the bar. There's a picture of it. I know. It's wicked.
That's awesome.
The second is John L's Hobby Room, who is, I think, the current owner of the Lighthouse. John L. Warren, and his dad is the one who originally bought it, John Warren.
Yeah.
So John L. Warren is the current owner. The third and fourth floors are an apartment that's left vacant for when they have family visiting. And that's awesome. And they even talked about like
cool.
They could have rented it out, but they just couldn't ever do it. It's just like a space that they keep saved. And the fifth floor is the lantern room. And I didn't get to see what light is in the lantern room. I'm assuming it's some fixed all way. I'm sure it's not just a lamp, but that could be true. I don't know. If you can see it out far enough that people traveling can see it, then it's got to be a little bit more powerful. And if they want to play into the fact that
it's a lighthouse,
that they might dish out the cash to put something powerful in there.
Man, that is so neat.
Yeah, especially because it used to have the water tower inside, and I said it was 5,000 gallons, and he said it was built, quote, like an old whiskey barrel.
What?
Yeah, like a wooden water tower that they put this lighthouse around.
Put the slats together and like put the metal bands around it. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and
How'd
he said
they get
that
it out of there?
they had to dismantle it like bit by bit in order to get it out, and some of the wood they said was used in like friends' homes to be built because
neat.
They didn't have any idea what to do with all the pieces.
Yeah, that's so cool. I would love to play pool there.
I know. And the pool table's really well taken care of. It's not like a dumpster fire.
I bet you this place is so busy.
It apparently is like a hot spot.
Yeah. I mean, the Spit was busy when we were there. It was July 4th weekend, but yeah.
Oh, it's so much fun. I want to go. Yeah. They sell patches. You should give me a patch for my jacket.
Salty Dawg sells them?
Yeah.
All right, well, I'll try to get there.
Okay. Well, so the light tower made it a well-known landmark in the area, but they're also known for their dollar bill tradition, which you can see by the front door here. And I'm going to pull up a couple pictures. So this is
cool.
what the inside looks like. You have some underwear with some people's numbers on it. We have a bra, buoys, lots of pictures, a license plate going on here, a hat. People just come in and they just tag their names on a dollar bill and then tack it on the walls, or anything else they have around.
Underwear, whatever. Yeah. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure this kind of looks like it may be somebody's ID here. Yeah, so the tradition started. I'm gonna grab my notes away from this.
Nice grab.
Thank you. Dollar bill tradition. There was a couple different things that I read about, but mainly it's just that many years ago, a visitor tacked $1 on the wall because he knew that his friend was going to be coming by later, and he's like, "Hey, this is for this person to buy them a drink." So that's how this whole tradition started. Is that he tacked a $1 bill on the wall, and it became like a big thing where people write their names and numbers and whatever else on a $1 bill and leave it behind to leave their mark. Like Bozeman, Montana.
Bozeman, Montana.
Yeah. I can like
Brother lives
zoom
in
in
Bozeman.
far enough. There's a Bob. South Dakota.
Have you ever seen a restaurant that does this? Or a bar?
No, but I saw lots of other places. Well, Lawrence. Right?
Where?
Jefferson's on Mass Street?
It's not ringing a bell. I mean, I know Jefferson's. I don't remember dollar bills. I was going to say Estes Park, Colorado. We haven't been there together, but I've been there many times growing up. And there was my favorite restaurant in this entire world is now no longer the same. And I won't. It's a good place still, but it's been moved. But it had a tradition of dollar bills on the walls. And I was, everything's magic when you're a kid. I got to draw on a $1 bill with like a marker
and leave it
and then put it on the wall. I think what the one in Estes Park did was after a period of time, they'd clean them all off and donate them to some local cause. Mm-hmm. So I just,
I think it's a common thing.
Very fond memory for me.
Yeah, but it is fun. Yeah, to see it.
I can't remember anywhere in Lawrence.
Yeah, it was some place that had $1 bills all over the wall, and they did take them down the next time I had visited. They had started over.
Cool.
So anyway, I don't know. I haven't heard that if they do that to this place, but the current manager of the saloon estimates there's anywhere between $50,000 to $60,000 on the wall.
Business ever dries up.
Yeah.
They got an insurance policy on the wall.
Look at all of this stuff. And this is a real human skull
What?
They put a sign, the last man who wrote a hot check.
Oh, that's cool.
But yeah, they found a real human skull, I think, in the bay.
So cool.
And they put it up here. The last man.
Yeah, they didn't turn it into the police.
Serve as a warning. Yeah.
We were going to turn it into the police, but then we thought, hey, we have a bar.
We could put it in the bar.
Put it on the wall.
We have crazy stuff on the walls. But look at all of this alcohol. It's a full stocked bar.
I've got it. It's too cool. It wasn't quite this cool, I'll be honest. But there's a place I went on the Denali Highway, which is also in Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
That was a bar in a cargo ship container. One cargo ship. That was the whole bar. It was like 5 seats.
Oh.
It's called the Sluice Box.
Oh my gosh.
And it's I can't remember where we were at. Clearwater Mountain Lodge is the place we stayed. SLUICE. Yep. There it is.
My God.
Oh, that's Alaska State Fair. Sluice Box comes from that's the one. It's a term having to do with
there it is.
Oh, come on. I'm losing my brain here. But when they're excavating an area, I think looking for gold, it's the sluice box. It's like a slushy.
Yeah.
My understanding. Someone's going to correct us. But so we went to this bar because it's the only thing we stayed at this like kind of cabins area.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only thing out there. And we were the only customers. And the only person working the bar was a person. No, but you can tell we weren't the first ones there.
Yeah.
The only person working the bar was this, the son of the person who owns the cabin. So it was like, if you need anything, it's just us. Like there's no one else around, middle of nowhere.
Oh,
really
wow.
beautiful. There's a rainbow in the morning we woke up. I'm so excited to go back to Alaska.
Here I sit in smelly vapor. Someone took all the toilet paper. Late for work, but still I linger. Look out, ass. Here comes my finger.
You were not expecting that.
I'm out of here. I'm going to stick with Salty Dawg.
All I'm saying is Alaska's got some cool bars.
It is pretty cool. I love that the dollar beer. I mean,
yeah.
dollar bill tradition lives on in many other places. I've definitely, it's not original to this, but maybe it's the first place to ever do it. We don't know. But yeah, money's not the only thing that ends up on these walls that we saw from the panties and the license plates. There's also like business cards, bras, lanterns, hats, and lots of other stuff.
Alaska.
Besides the decor, you'll also find like some like rustic wooden tables, a fully stocked bar, and a pool table. Their signature drink is called the duck fart, which is a shot that's layered with Baileys and Kahlua. With some
good.
Crown Royal whiskey.
That is interesting.
Oh, there are pictures.
Bailey's and Kahlua is like a creamy coffee combo.
Yeah.
Bailey's Irish Cream. Shout out.
Let's just go.
Kahlua coffee liqueur. I'll get those two. And then Canadian whiskey.
I want to go so bad. I'm so jealous that you guys are going.
You're welcome to come along. You can take a motorcycle class.
You guys would not. I'd be going so slow. I'd be like,
we don't go that fast. You'd be surprised. Well, there's times when we burn like the wind, but most of the time, I think the average speed we're going is like 40 to 50 miles an hour.
Are you guys taking a new route this time?
We're going to go some of the same roads, but we're going to try to see some new things. We're actually going to cross over into Canada.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
You need your passport?
Yep, I do. Just put in a request for a new one.
So much fun. I can't figure out where I saw this picture of the duck fart.
Can you look that up? Duck fart drink.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh yeah, okay.
You got it right.
An article. There it is.
It doesn't. It looks like a duck fart.
Yeah, we got Bailey's and then we've got whiskey and Kahlua. That
is a strange combo.
I know, but if it's their signature drink, it's got to be something good. Maybe. Or it's just like...
It's like a shot of Malort.
Gross. Yeah.
Oh, tastes like pencil eraser. So the Lighthouse, I did see a photo of it kind of as we scrolled by.
Mm-hmm. They have a
really cool
good ones on their Instagram, which you can follow. Yeah, they're actually open during the winter. That used to not be true, but now their normal hours are 10 a.m. to 5 a.m. So they're only not open for 5 hours. And in the winter, it's open 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. So
Okay.
not open very late. Yep. It says spring hours opening at 11 and staying until midnight or so.
That's cool.
I did read in the book that winter months, at least when it was first opened, were reserved for like fishermen and people to actually come and use it. And then the rest of the time, the fishermen respectfully, turned it down so that the tourists could be using it in the summer months and not be scared away.
That's so funny. The locals gave it a break.
Yeah, they have their Instagram is at Salty Dawg Saloon. If you want to go follow them, their website is saltydawgsaloon.com. And they sell a ton of merchandise, including thongs.
No comment.
Let's see. If we go to stuff, there's like glass and drinkware and everything. We got bumper sticker, drink koozies.
Stickers, playing cards. Those are pretty dope.
Here's the patch. Bandana for you motorcycle riding men.
Yeah, Yep.
Joke.
Really cool.
Also,
good website as well.
They write a lot about sawdust on the grounds of the bar, which I think they still do, and they just put down like this inch layer of sawdust or more, which collects any spilled drinks or anything. Yeah, and then at the end of the day, they scoop up all of the sawdust and get rid of it, and they will check through it for like money, or they find like wedding rings and it's like all kinds of stuff. They talk about there's been stories of people that come in, lovers spats, heated arguments, and the woman throws her ring down and says, "I am no longer married to you." Like, the book is hilarious. Like, if anyone wants to give it a read, it has a lot of cool stories about this saloon.
It's like a litter box floor.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's just like
nightmare.
Turns into like a sludge that they have to pick up.
It's part of the experience, man. A quaint little drinking village with a fishing problem. I've heard that quote before. Toby Keith. Oh my gosh. Toby Keith, yeah. Toby Smith of the Bahamas told us that.
Oh, that's funny.
Same comment.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But yeah, that's all I've got on the Salty Dawg Saloon. Now I'm just browsing, but yeah, it's just it's a faux lighthouse. I thought it would be a super cool, super fun.
Yeah, no, it's super. Well, and it's good. There's no like big stories about it. Some ship crashing or some explosion.
I mean, the earthquake was a lot, but
right. But the lighthouse was after. I'll definitely try to get there. I might reach out to him. We'll see. So 2 days, the second to last day, we're coming across into Whittier, on a ferry, on a boat. That's the plan. So it's like an 8-hour ferry, and then we go through this tunnel, which is only a one lane tunnel.
Oh gosh.
So traffic only goes one way.
Ooh, weird.
Apparently you could wait hours to get through it.
No way.
And then that spits us out towards, I believe it's towards Seward, if I remember right. And so to get to Homer that night, we may have 12+ hour day. And we can't predict the boat times and the tunnel times. So if we don't get there, then, which I don't think we will, the very last day, we'd be going from Seward to Homer, all the way back up to Anchorage, which is all of the Seward Peninsula.
Yeah.
Or Seward. Man, my memory is just not confident. But that whole peninsula.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're planning to do. Hopefully we can get here, but we may not get to Homer.
That'd be sad. Hopefully you can. We got to give this place a visit.
I'd like to.
A full lighthouse that lives in our hearts.
Yeah, I wish we were staying at Land's End again, because I just go down here for the evening.
Yeah.
Try to fight the crowds.
Live it up. Yeah,
very unexpected. Thank
Salty
you.
Dawg Saloon.
Thank you for that.
I'm gonna like seeing that title in our next episode. Did you
sponsor?
Yeah.
Might as well. I'm not good at this, so we'll just put it in. But our sponsor for today is newegg.com. I contacted them. I've actually ordered from them before, so it's mostly technology. But you can go on Amazon, sure, but newegg.com is a tech mecca. So if you need a computer mouse, a keyboard, if you're going to look at laptops, you want to learn some more, it's a super nerds website. And that's what I am, and I love it for that reason. But they've connected us with a link. So if there's anything that you've had on your mind on your Christmas list that you didn't get, if you use our link to go purchase that, we'll get 3% back.
Nice.
Towards the Lighthouse Lowdown. So
that's awesome.
Just thought we'd give them a mention. I think it's active. We'll post how long it's active, but April. So
we'll include it in the show notes for this episode. So anyone that wants to order something and give a little bit
Yeah, I mean,
inadvertently to the Lighthouse Lowdown.
Anything, we appreciate you just listening. That's why we're here. But
That's true.
if you do need something,
we watch our listener numbers like a hawk. So if you really want to gift us, just listen to our episodes. But if you want to do it in a way that, you don't have to go out of your way, just click on the link.
Yeah. So we're new on LinkedIn this week, making some posts on there. We're big on YouTube now. It's our big launch a couple weeks ago. So we're just going to keep going. We appreciate everyone listening in and chatting with us. It's been fun.
Yeah.
So.
And we had an Instagram comment from Mums. Mysteries and Murders. Yeah. Is that what it was? It's another podcast. It's a pair of moms from Australia and the UK, I think.
Edinburgh. Yeah.
Yeah, and they just cover true crime, very laid back, casual. I haven't listened to an episode, but Vince did, and he said it was very enjoyable. They had like fun stories to talk about.
I listened to one, and it was regarding. This is gonna sound. Just listen to it. It was a dog suicide bridge.
Oh.
And they were talking. There's not a lot of story there, but there's this bridge. And over the years, many dogs have decided to jump off this bridge out of nowhere instantly. Spooky. And a lot of those dogs have passed away.
Oh, no.
So that's what their episode is about. But they get into some commentary that their accents and their perspectives being moms.
Yeah.
That's the gold. I really enjoyed it.
I'll have to listen. I was excited. They just commented on our Flynn and Isle of Mystery and said, we just covered this. We really like the story. I'm binging your podcast. It's super fun because I love lighthouses and all that. So I just sent her back a message and said we'd go ahead and listen. And if they had any lighthouses around Australia or the UK or anything that had spooky stories, then we would totally cover it because it's been a long time since I did a spooky lighthouse.
Spook.
I've been doing fun lighthouses. My next one is also a fun lighthouse.
There's more spooky.
There's more spook
in our
the
potential
world.
Cards.
For you?
I haven't started work on one, but
okay.
I know of one. So.
Oh yeah. I have the next episode, and then Vince will be doing the next one. So
yeah, I've got a couple different ideas, and I'm not sure which one I'm going to move forward with next. So got to do some shuffling. But it'll be fun.
Every day I'm shuffling. Follow us on Instagram at The Lighthouse Lowdown, where you can see pictures, and then follow us on YouTube. I'll put the link in our show notes where you can watch possibly the screen share of this episode, or if it's just too much, then it'll just be a slideshow of pictures, which will probably be more, I don't know. I didn't do a very good job of the screen work. It was too much stress.
We'll just see what happens. Whatever we post, we'll post. Right?
Okay, sounds good. But yeah, and go to our website, or you can send us an email at lighthouselowdown@gmail.com if you want to talk to us about any buoys or lighthouses you want us to cover. We've had a couple, and they're in the works. Our next episode is has a history buoy from someone that requested it. So
nice.
We'll get to do that. So thanks for listening, and we hope you catch us next time on The Lighthouse Lowdown.